Alright, strap up, cause this ain't just another narrative about a warrior. This is the narrative of Gervonta Tank Davis. A boy who grew up fighting in the streets of West Baltimore and transformed every ounce of misery into sheer strength inside the ring. This is about survival, struggle, and that hunger only the streets can teach you. Because before the titles, the celebrity, the knockout highlights, Tank was just a kid trying to make it out alive. And now, he's a boxing superstar. So let's backtrack and take a very deep dive into the career of Gervonta Davis, from the concrete jungle to worldwide dominion. Chapter 1, Baltimore built a fighter. First off, you can't speak about Gervonta Davis without talking about Baltimore. Not the manicured one they depict in tourist commercials, I'm talking about the actual Baltimore. Sandtown, Winchester. One of the toughest areas in the city. A place where survival is the first sport you learn. Tank was born on November 7, 1994. And from the outset, life was heavy. His parents battled drugs, leaving Gervonta and his siblings traveling between foster homes and family members. Stability? That was a luxury. He refused to be food. Fighting wasn't simply something he did, it was who he was. Chapter 2, boxing becomes his escape. Now, every youngster in areas like that dreams of a way out. Others seek rap, others chase ball, but for Tank, it was boxing gloves that rescued him. At the age of 5, Tank went into Upton Boxing Center. Picture it, a little youngster with hands too small for the gloves, but a heart too huge for the world to ignore. His first instructor, Calvin Ford, spotted something straight away. That rawness, that inherent aggressiveness, but also, the type of agony you can't teach. Tank wasn't simply throwing fists. He was exorcising demons. Every jab, every hook, every uppercut, it all meant something. And that gym? It became his haven. The streets had no regulations, but the ring did. And Tank?
I like, what's the guy from Japan?
Inoue?
Yeah.
Do you foresee potentially at some day you guys meeting together, maybe at a catch weight, or maybe if he keeps going up in weight?
Probably.
Yeah.
That would be like a fun.
He could obey regulations if it meant survival. Chapter 3, the early struggles, life outside the ring. Now don't get it confused, the gym didn't eradicate the streets. Tank still had to trek home through areas where beef might flare off over nothing.
Fight.
Crazy.
Yeah, that would be a fun fight. Now that would be technical. That fight right there, like me and him. But I think I'd be too big for him.
Probably, yeah.
I'd be too big for him, yeah. But that fight would be like.
It's like a dream fight.
Yeah, facts.
He still had to eat, still had to hustle, still had to live. School was a fight too. He hopped between numerous schools, getting into fights, constantly straddling that thin line between potential and collapse. Every day seemed like a coin flip, make it to the gym or get caught up in the craziness outside. By the time he was a teenager, Tank had already seen more than most adult men. Death, addiction, violence, it was all around him. But through all of it, there was one constant, boxing. Chapter 4, from amateur phenom to professional problem. In the amateurs, Tank began turning heads rapidly. That power? Unbelievable for his size. That speed? Blinding. But it was the attitude, the chip on his shoulder, that truly marked him apart. Every fight seemed personal. Every opponent was another roadblock between him and a way out. By the time he was 18, Tank chalked up an amazing 206-15 amateur record. That's not just skill, that's obsession. He wasn't only battling to earn prizes. He was struggling for his life. And when the time came to become pro, Tank didn't hesitate. The gloves became thick. For Tank, that moment arrived when Floyd Mayweather took notice. Now, you know how uncommon it is for Floyd to co-sign someone. But Floyd saw the same thing Calvin Ford saw, a killing instinct you can't produce. With Mayweather Promotions in his corner, Tank's career entered the fast lane. But it wasn't smooth sailing. Success comes with pressure, and pressure reveals weaknesses. Tank's name began resonating heavily following devastating knockouts, but beyond the ring, controversy followed him. Run-ins with the police, public beefs, and concerns about his focus, all of it became part of the tale. And in boxing, your narrative counts as much as your ability. Chapter 6, Fighting Style, Born from the Streets. Let's speak about that style, because Tank fights like a person who grew up needing to protect himself every single day. That's hardly textbook boxing. That's instinct. That's survival boxing. He's got the hand speed of a lightweight, the strength of a middleweight, and the attitude of a street brawler. He doesn't just punch you, he tears you down psychologically. He'll walk through fire simply to land one shot, because in his mind, pain doesn't frighten him. He's been there before. That persistent pressure? That's the streets talking. That inventiveness in cramped spaces? That's from avoiding punches in school halls and street corners. Every component of his game ties back to Baltimore. Chapter 7, The Rise to Superstar Status. Fast ahead, knockout after knockout, highlight after highlight, Tank wasn't simply a prospect anymore. He was an issue. Titles at super featherweight, lightweight, and super lightweight, Tank made sure every category knew his name. But what makes him distinctive isn't just the knockouts. It's the aura. That energy. When Tank battles, it seems like the corporate champion. He's honest, imperfect, genuine, and that's precisely why people adore him. Chapter 8, Legacy in Progress. Here's the problem, Tank's narrative isn't over. He's still changing. Still fighting demons, still straddling that tightrope between superstardom and self-destruction. But that's what makes him intriguing. He's neither a hero or a villain, he's both. Every struggle is another chapter. Every opponent is another ghost to banish. And whether you love him or loathe him, you watch him, because warriors like Tank, they only come along once in a generation. Outro, From the Streets to the World. So when you see Tank Davis raise his hand after another knockout, realize, that's not simply a victory on his record. That's a triumph for every youngster from Baltimore who's been told they wouldn't make it. That's a triumph for the warriors born with nothing but their fists and a desire. Tank is Baltimore. Tank is boxing. And his evolution? That's a narrative currently being written. Because when you come from nothing, every struggle is personal. And for Gervonta Davis, the struggle is far from finished.